Hi, I'm Akhil.
I'm Rohan Nagar.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the new Indian Netflix movie Friday Night Blonde, which is the second feature for Irfan Khan's son Babil Khan, alongside Amrit Jain, Amit Dharana, and Aditya Anand mostly, or like Joey Chawla, like now and then, but like barely. It's like a teen comedy set like around the last days of high school, so which made me think of like Dazed and Confused in the beginning, but obviously it's not proceeding like that because it's not American. Yeah, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I think this is the definition of like a forgettable movie
Yeah.
because
The minute it ended, I was like, I'm never gonna think about this again.
while watching it, I forgot 20 minutes pehle kya hua tha.
I mean, I think that like I didn't have a problem with it because like nothing much happens in the movie. It's like this basically about one day. It starts literally in the morning. It ends like the next morning. That's it.
Yeah, but I had a fairly like well-behaved teenage years, and I think even the most boring days were more interesting than this movie because this is like one of those ambient entertainment things, right? But not even like fluffy because it's playing in the background and I'm like constantly distracted by something. And then after a point, I'm like looking for distraction. It's not even that the movie is kind of just pushing me to just do other
Yeah,
things.
it's not basically very ambitious in its filmmaking.
It's kind of surprisingly unambitious. It's not in like a pleasing way, where you're like, oh, I like how self-contained this is. They do have like weird outlandish set pieces also, like where you're like, ye kyun ho raha hai? But then
इतनी देर के लिए क्यों हो रहा है एक तो?
yeah,
Like,
but then
you
it's
eventually
like,
realize like that whole egg throwing scene seems like reverse engineered, right? Almost like to introduce the cop.
but to what end? Like to introduce the cop and do what? Like to impart like
To
a life
talk
lesson?
about like responsibilities, which like feels very weird, like in a teenage movie. Like, why do they talk about responsibility so much?
Or
Like, why is this like this is basically like 2-3 steps away from like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but then it's like too like I don't know, like insecure about like being like teenager and being wild. So it's just like, oh no, we are growing up, so we must talk about grown up things now and then.
the main character is anyway very responsible.
Yeah, like that which I found weird. Like he should be the secondary character, right? Like shouldn't Adi, the actual teenager who actually wants to have fun in life, be the main character, and his elder brother keeps like stopping him from like doing fun things, and then that way the movie would be like just inherently more fun, right? Because he's the party pooper.
Because I don't
Then by
really
making
understand.
the like tightly wound guy the protagonist, I'm just like, you're preventing your own movie from having fun, bro.
उसका आर्क भी नहीं है much.
आप तो
The
किसी का नहीं होगा ना, एक दिन की मूवी है.
no, but at least the younger one is like being told कि ये ठीक नहीं है वो ठीक. The older one is just going along with things and being like he doesn't really change much. And at the end, his brother is like, you have no identity. But I'm like, bro, the movie has no identity also. Please tell that to the movie.
Which is what I mean. His arc is supposed to be that he's clueless at the beginning, and he can't figure out like he's scared of even applying to colleges and like of who he wants to take to prom or even if he wants to go to prom, and like those things are solved. At least one of them is solved organically through the movie. The second one just like happens out of nowhere, right? He's just like, okay, now I'll apply to colleges. Like now confronting my fears and everything has been solved because I faced the cop and I faced everything at the party. My life has changed.
Do we understand why he's so insecure and why he's so hesitant about taking chances?
I don't know, like I feel like they should have given us more with like around the dad because clearly like it comes from somewhere from there, right? The fact that they've lost
They
the
have
dad.
those photos also.
Yeah, which like the movie starts off like very like in a way sentimentality for a party movie. But I feel like they don't go back to it at all. Like I mean, it's just one conversation where like they acknowledge it, but it's like it's never really probed of like why he's feeling like that. Like why is he caught between like sure like all teenagers have an identity crisis, especially as they step into young adulthood. And like what's stopping him from actually like applying to colleges and like figuring out life out.
I mean, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure like if we put our minds to it, we'll come up with some theory. But the movie doesn't really.
But we doesn't really like bring into it or at all something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't have been very difficult for the movie to have been like, oh, here are the reasons why this person feels so responsible. He feels like he has to fill some void in his little brother's life or whatever. But then it doesn't really even imply that. It instead implies that he's kind of slightly resentful of his younger brother. Okay, because of what? Because
yeah, like I have to be the responsible one and you are the carefree one, right? Like which just does come across in the movie. But like everything else, like, I mean, like, why is he even in the football team if he doesn't enjoy it, right? Because like he literally scores the winning goal in like a final, they say, which is like a rivalry with this school. And the next scene, he's disappeared from sight. He's in the bathroom. He's already changing the clothes. Like, and he has no interest of like enjoying with his like football buddies at all, right? So then why is he even participating? For what? To what end?
No, I think he enjoys football. He doesn't enjoy the company of others.
But then how can you enjoy football? It's a team sport. The whole point of it is you pass to other people and you play with them.
He's barely playing, right? He enjoys football probably like from a distance. And he's probably like, okay, good at it. But he doesn't play. So he has no experience of even what a team dynamic is.
Yeah, but I feel like at some point, like this guy like he's in the last year of his high school, right? So it's not like this is this first year in the football team. He must have been hanging around for a few years at least, if not more, assuming he's been in the same school or whatever for a long while.
But then वो जो उसका shower sequence पे काफी football हो रहा था, and I was like, oh, this guy likes football, and maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, fine, sure, but that was also like it's the morning of his big match, so I would understand. But like, why is he still here? Like, how is he not given up on football? I'm trying to think now. Like, I didn't think of this while watching the movie, but like, how is he stuck around for so long in the football team if he's actually that bored of like the people around him?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really get a sense of who this person is.
Exactly.
And I know it's like very limited time, but if you look back at all those other teen movies, a couple of which you just mentioned, and even like a Superbad or something, you know exactly who those people are, right?
Yeah, they find a way. They find a way with like actual conversation which lasts like several minutes in some of those movies to like tell us about these people and how they behave, right? And this movie like doesn't like really do that.
I mean, speaking of conversation, it's so dull. Like, it's so dull, the interaction. It feels like...
it's actually so dull. It's like the only scene standing out, and even that scene is mediocre, is the one like in the washing machine, whatever room, like the laundry room basically, with like him and Nat. Like, that's like, because we're giving so little that I'm like, now I'm holding on to that scene. I'm like, okay, usme barely kuch hua hai. Baaki dekho to kuch bhi nahi hua hai.
Kuch bhi, or also it feels like something that was written by a much older person who doesn't...
Yeah, that was my constant like problem, is that if you, I mean, that's okay if you're an older person, like I'm not expecting a Gen Z director, like that's not gonna happen just because of like how the industry...
But make an effort to at least understand your subjects, no?
Or just set it piche, na? Who's stopping you from doing that? Set the in the 90s or 2000s.
You would
then at least
then
you don't see, and you don't come across as dated at least, right? Because you're like, okay, yeah, no, this is how like it's talked back then.
No. So it's not even a problem of what they're saying, right? It's not a problem of the dialogues don't make sense. Like you wouldn't hear kids that age say those words. It's not that. The problem is just how people of a certain age are imagined in this movie. Right. It's almost like one of those SNL things where you have like 40-year-olds wearing like funny like hats and like weird like goofy clothes that nobody really wears, but then that's what uncles imagine kids dressed as, And it almost like that party scene feels like ye kya ho raha hai? Is this what you've gathered? Like, have you not hung out with people your own age when you were younger, or are you basing it on like something that you've seen somewhere and you're trying to translate it into an Indian setting? That party scene was just weird. What are they even saying? And nobody gives a gali in this entire movie, maybe once, which is weirder in fact. Like,
because like that's what like kids do, right? They try to impress each other, like they're trying to like feel adult, and that's their way of feeling adult.
Yeah, there's no like variety even to the different teenagers in this movie, right? There's not like one person nobody has their own distinct like personality.
Ek do ko like milta hai, but that too like they're given like half a line or one line, right? Like this guy is like trying to be like sophisticated. He knows about like French wines. I'm like, sure, I don't care.
Oh my god, yeah, that dude. And that's also like, I understand if you're trying to project someone as he comes from money, he's been...
Yeah, but I feel like everyone comes from money here because they're studying in an international school.
Yeah.
They're an IB school, so obviously everyone comes from money.
And I would imagine that if, say you're however old, 17 years old, right? And you come from money, you've been around expensive wines all your life. I refuse to believe that you do not know what you're talking about.
And it's also like such a surface level joke, right? The joke is like, oh, unko pronunciation nahi aata. I mean, हो चुका है, कितनी movies मार चुकी हैं same joke.
So वो सोचना नहीं है. No, like we know what we want to make fun of, but we don't want to think of. Even the jock person is just like.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't feel like enough of a joke and enough of an obstacle in our protagonist's life. Like after a point, he's just like, dude, तूने गोल मारा, तू सही है. I'm like, नहीं भाई, you can't give in to him. That's not your purpose in the movie.
You know how in the good old days in teen movies you used to have like the bully used to always be like a genuinely like a 35-year-old person whom they cast as a teen.
Yeah, and like the least you could do is that make the jock steal the goal. The least you can do. I mean, don't let your nerdy dude who's come off like a substitute actually score.
Because you're right, because that would accomplish two things, right? One, you know exactly who the jock is, like he's a mean person.
Yeah, and like it's still like Sid's goal, but he stole it, and that creates like conflict the entire movie.
The girls could still be like, why did you steal his goal, bechara?
And he'll just grin and he'll be like, yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm Kabir.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure if they sat on this movie a little bit, they would first realize that they could make it better. And then someone would hopefully show up and be like, no, let's just not make this at all.
But that's the thing, right? It's almost like I can tell like what's happening, like where are these things coming from, right? It's almost like I feel like Excel is around searching for like a young talent, right? Who can make like movies cater to like this crowd. Because we had that TV show
which was a million times better
in front of this, but then we talked about when it was like also like we had problems with it, right?
No, I enjoyed that show.
That's like, okay, I guess maybe I have misplaced our consensus. But yeah, from what I felt, like I remember of it, like I was like, okay, I was okay. Like it could have like, handle things better. Then obviously they gave it to the wrong person to make it, but they also had phone booth, which is again like, they're trying to cater to like, again, a young sort of audience.
A young audience. It's a stoner comedy in which nobody seems high. Or
yeah, that's the problem, right? So like, yeah, clearly Farhan like wants to like, I don't know, find the next person who makes like the next, like the Gen Z Dil Chahta Hai or something like that. But except for like a younger crowd, not like that sort of older crowd. But like they're struggling to actually find that person, right?
Yeah, this is very strange. This feels like such a poorly like there has to be some reason why people thought that this was substantial enough to be like, let's make this. Because
yeah, this is like a filler episode, except it's an entire movie.
And obviously nobody's going to watch this and be like, wow, that person, great, let's give them 10 more things to do.
But then that's the problem with this industry, right? Like they'll just be like, they won't feel like this person. They'll just say like, Excel, make 10 more things for us. And then inevitably, if Excel has no one to look around, they'll be turned to him and be like, tu hi bana de. That's the dirt, right? I was looking at like this guy's CV, like, this is how they come up, right? They start working for the company. They're like, whatever you have, we'll work on it. So this guy's like, helped around. He's helped with Inside Edge. He's helped with like, I don't know, other stuff. He's helped with Eternally Confused also. Like, he's part of the creative team everywhere. And then the guy's like, okay, we've seen enough of you. You make a feature now.
Oh, but this is still an age-old like Bollywood thing, right? Where you assist someone and then...
If they don't have people in the room, if there's only 10 people in the room and you have a script and you're like, kuch banana hai because you have to fulfill our output to Netflix, whatever, quarterly or annual, they inevitably turn around and be like, you make it because you made something previously and it was like, if not, it was not poor. That's the bar in Bollywood, honestly.
But this is so bizarre. Like last week I was like, for a different reason, I was like, Satyam ki pata kaise bana sakte ho in this day and age. But at least it provoked a reaction out of me. This one though is like, why does this exist?
But then would I rather not take 5 Friday night plans over one Satyam Katha?
I mean, no, actually, would not.
You take 5 Satyam Kathas over one Friday night.
One Satyam Katha over 0 Friday night is my verdict on this. Because
yeah, but that's the thing, right? We never get one of something. If something works, they're like, we make dozen of those.
I mean, see, the thing is with these days, like, if we weren't doing this podcast, there's no way I would watch more than 10 minutes of Friday Night Plan, right? There's no
10 minutes of Satyam Katha, honestly.
Correct. There's no way I would watch either of those for 10 minutes, but then in those 10 minutes, I would feel more in Satyam Katha, either good or bad, than in this. And if I'm...
Yeah, this one like doesn't make... That's the problem actually. No. This one doesn't make you feel anything.
Yeah, if I'm going to waste 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 2 hours, then I want to at least get something out of it. Not to have...
No, I think the problem like, for me is Satyam Katha is like, it just in 10 minutes, it would like annoy me so much that I would want to burn it. which is a worse for me than like finding a planet. I'm like 10 minutes, I will have no reaction, I'll move on with life and forget it. I would rather have that peace and quiet mentally than be like raging inside.
Yeah, I guess. But this is just feels like I wasted 2 hours of my life. And for no like
Which like, honestly we do like every week, so like Rohan, what's new?
we do, but at least I get something pushes me to a point where I'm able to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
This is like a pure waste, you know? Like I can't even get anything worthwhile out of it. Even like it's not even stimulating me in any way.
Yeah.
But at least Satyamita, I'm thinking, and at least I'm telling myself, oh, okay, so people think like this, you know, it tells me about society or whatever. I'm getting nothing out of this. It's just 2 hours gone, like disappeared. Boom. Like it's
like into the ether and like never to return.
It's one of those things, like I will always remember that I've watched it, but then I will never remember anything about it.
I don't think I remember I watched it. I think like if I don't mark this on my IMDb like list or something, and if in 10 years someone asks me, do you remember like Babil Khan's second movie? So I won't remember like what his first or second movie is. Like, so
you will remember his first movie because he was introduced twice in it. Because the movie forgot that it introduced.
No, right? We don't remember right now. But in 10 years someone asks me, like Babil Khan made a teenage movie, I'll be like, no, you're lying. Like, what? And I watched it, nahi, ye kya joke hai? And there's a podcast on the internet where I talked about 20 minutes for it, nahi, that's also false.
Even if you listen to this episode of The Long Take in 10 years, you will learn nothing about the movie.
Or like I will be in denial that this was my voice. I'll be like, nahi, ye nahi ho sakta. Aisa kaise ho?
I guess it's not an endorsement in any way.
I think that was clear in the first 2 minutes. But if you stayed this far, so you have a slightly longer understanding, if not better.
You could take a walk for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a better Friday night plan than watching this movie.
Don't watch anything. Just do like a cleanse, like a...
I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Wherever it's this episode, please leave us a rating and a review. And we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.